Welcome into the Sports Buffoons Podcast. Yo, let's get it going out there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of the world. Welcome on in, back again, once again, to the Sports Buffoon Studios here out of Lenexa, Kansas. We got Tanner Dawson to my right, and we got Jason JG to my left over here. Cracking one open. Yeah, there we go. Pop it, let you know what I'm talking about. You know, we got the Sports Buffoons going on. You want to crack one right when the show starts is when you want to get it going. So I appreciate that, Jason. You haven't done that for a long time.
I would rather be popping something else right now, but I'll settle for this.
Yeah, you got a little buzz ball going on. Tanner, what are you sipping on?
I just got some water, guys. Preparing for the weekend.
Some water. I got myself a little water with some blue Mio put in there just to keep it light tonight. So you know, it keeps a little flavor for the water for the evening. All that good stuff. What is that?
Just blue raspberry. You know, it's just something.
Oh, is that the flavor of the Mio?
That must be the Mio.
Yeah, all that good stuff. So, the guys, this feels like a championship Wednesday in a lot of ways, if you think about it, because we're sitting here on this day, and Monday we saw a end of a season conclude, and then Tuesday we saw the same thing in a different sport. Both of those seasons are over with now. Now we're sitting here going, well, what do we do with our time? What do we do with ourselves anymore? I did hear a story recently about a flight attendant, as a matter of fact, who had been a little tipsy maybe on her flight. And, you know, she maybe got caught maybe by the way she was acting, probably had a few too many vodka tonics or whatever, you know, her guilty pleasure is. And, it got me thinking, you know, if I was in her shoes, if I was a flight attendant, it would be pretty hard to like not want to drink on your job. Right. I mean, would you guys say so? I mean, would you guys say like it'd be easy just to want to like, hey, I got a 3-hour flight, you know, it's pretty boring.
Gotta hand out peanuts,
all that kind of stuff. You know, why not have a couple of vodkas
deal with that jackass
along
the
way, whatever you're, maybe some tequila, whatever you're into. Turns out this lady ended up being removed from her position, as far as I understand. But it got me thinking, what would be actually the most difficult job to do while you're intoxicated? Because there's a lot of, you know, jobs that are very specific, and you can't, you know, get to dial in, you got to zone in, you got to be in on your job. But if you're drunk, then it's just not going to work out. Or maybe being a flight attendant, it's too easy. So what would be the opposite of that? What would be something that would be almost too difficult to perform while you're intoxicated, you guys?
Yeah. So the first thing that came to my mind was like, if you were like a superstar singer, and the first person that popped into my mind was Taylor Swift, because she did that concert the other day where it was fucking pouring down rain, and she didn't care. Like, she pushed through it like the superstar that she is. And I'm just like, if she would have been hammered in that situation, or any other situation for that matter, I feel like when you start to mess with your fucking vocal cords and shit, because we all know that when you get hammered, you know, you might not be able to talk or sing, in her case, as long as you might ideally like to. And I think that a superstar singer would be number one. That would be the most difficult, because you're a professional. Your vocal cords are expected to be on point. And that would be a shitty job, because if you fail at a concert, then all your fans are going to talk shit on you for the rest of your life. You're never going to be able to live that down. So that was number one. My second one that came to my mind was a police officer, because we depend on these police officers, our law enforcement, to get all of these drunk ass drivers off the road. Well, how are they going to do that if they're hammered? And so I think that would be a shit show job to try to be able to do that, because you're not going to be able to follow the law if you're hammered, much less try to pull somebody over for being drunk or otherwise. And so I think for me, those are the two shittiest jobs to try to do drunk, is like a superstar performer or a police officer.
It's interesting you bring up the vocalist, basically, because I mean, obviously you guys know out there I'm a metalhead, so I go to a lot of shows. Went to one last week, went to the one week before. I mean, I'm always going to shows. And I've seen many times actually some of my favorite bands go up there, and I know they've been drinking beforehand. A lot of the guys I like, they drink a lot of whiskey before. Some of them are drinking on stage even. One in particular that I remember very specifically because of how bad it was, and this guy was already known for being kind of a issue in the past. I saw him in Aftershock up in Merriam, Kansas, and his name was, he was from the band Slaves. If you guys are aware of who that would be. But anyways, he had supposedly quit drinking or whatever, gets up on stage, and his vocals are awful. This guy's got a wonderful voice. He's got a very, very, very pretty voice. Hits all the high notes and all that. Well, the whole time he's up there apologizing. He's blaming it on being sick or whatever. And it's like, well, I saw him before the show actually, walking around drinking. So it's pretty evident what was going on at that point. So yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. It's interesting you bring that up because some of my favorite bands, they can do it. I mean, because it's a different style of music.
No, I'm going to give you like drummer, guitarist. I don't care.
Taylor
Taylor
Swift.
So
is someone who probably could not get away with that.
So I'm just strictly saying vocalist.
Yeah,
vocalist would be a problem.
Country star Morgan Wallen, Wallen. He actually had to cancel a concert 10 minutes before it started because he was drunk.
Oh shit!
Wow, good for him.
And then he ended up taking 6 weeks off to go to AA because he couldn't do it because he got that hammered.
I went to a show one time. The lead singer of Asking Alexandria, but it was just him by himself, basically doing a solo thing, and he sat there with a glass of whiskey next to him the entire time. But what the best part about it was, no one was expecting it to be like sound great. We just thought it was going to be amusing, and it was. He just told jokes the whole time, would sing a couple songs, drink a bunch of whiskey, and that was pretty much the show. It was. I loved it. I mean, it was funny because we didn't have expectations, and we're seeing the lead singer of Asking Alexandria right there in front of us just get hammered.
That's
so
awesome.
I thought that was kind of cool, I suppose. But I don't know, Tanner. Do you have anything in mind that would be the most difficult thing to do?
I know. Actually, Jason and I were talking beforehand about my job, thinking about it now. Yeah, being drunk, sitting in front of spreadsheets, sitting in front of doing numbers stuff would just be awful because you just want to fall asleep. You're just going to want to fall asleep sitting there, anything not moving. So if you're staring at a computer that you would have to for 8 hours or plus or whatever, and you're looking at, numbers and trying to figure out other stuff, I think that'd probably be one of the worst things just because you would fall asleep.
I think it's got to be a balance though, because if it's too physical, can't do it.
You can't do it.
If it's not physical at all,
you're really
not
not
gonna be able
doing
to do
it.
So it's like it's got to be like some kind of a balance or something like that. I mean, I would never say, if you were reading meters for a living or something like that, that would be something that would probably be bad to do while you're intoxicated.
What about like
it's a numbers based.
What about a bank teller? Like, what if somebody withdraws like $1,500 and they give them fucking $5,000? That'd be pretty shit. That's an easy way to get fired right there.
Yeah, that'd be a bad deal as well, I'd say. So.
What's your idea?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, anything that comes to mind. I mean, none of it sounds good.
Let me ask you this here. So I get a little top 10 popped up from AmericanCraftBeer.com. What are some jobs? What do you think is in the top 10 for jobs that should avoid if you have a drinking problem? So jobs that would probably
electrician
make you drink.
Electrician would be one because you're likely to die. I've heard most painters are actually alcoholics.
Not on the list.
Well, Tanner, I'm thinking about your safety. I mean, you're more likely to actually kill yourself.
So this is jobs that have a higher percentage of heavy drinkers and higher mortality rates from alcohol consumptions.
Painters.
Other jobs.
Painters will be on the list.
Painters are not on the list.
That's
I like
bullshit.
the electrician. I like that one.
The electrician are not. I mean, I guess you almost could say, painters would be something different. Well, you have any guesses?
I like to go to, when I'm out in Vegas, I like to go to Cirque du Soleil shows. And I know that they did have somebody that died one time during a show, a performer. I don't know if he was drunk or not, but when you're doing all those fucking backflips and shit and jumping off,
no,
jumping off of a fucking ledge and shit like that. I mean, that's it depends on how you look at it. It could be a bad way to go out, or it could be a good way.
Or like a pilot, helicopter pilot or something like that. I mean,
it'd be like the movie Flight, but
that's a great movie.
But he was on point. That actually made him a better pilot.
I know people like that actually.
I'll bet you do.
That's a good movie.
I bet you do.
So
I hope you can introduce me to some of those friends that you have.
Here's the top 10 jobs to avoid like the plague if you have a drinking problem. Number 10, the sales worker, right?
What? A sales worker?
Yes. And
you mean like where it's like commission based.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah.
Like
Okay.
you have to meet and greet and fancy all
Oh
those
yeah,
customers.
that would make sense.
Number 9, assembly line production. Being in that, so production jobs, mind-numbing
fast
works.
paced.
Again,
It's fast paced.
but some of them are numbing enough. You're false.
But it would make you want to drink because it's so boring.
Yeah, custodial workers, cleaning the toilets, scrubbing toilets, having to deal with that crap.
I just thought of a good one since you said that. CNA would be good.
Oh yeah,
That would be amazing if you were hammered the whole time, because you wouldn't be able to, like, you'd be smelling shit all day long, but it wouldn't really matter that much because you're drunk. But you'd still be helping people, so it's still rewarding.
it's still rewarding.
You know what I'm saying? You want to have a rewarding job, but you're not going to really enjoy it that much if you smell shit all day unless you're hammered.
Yeah.
Well, for the record, we don't need a full top 10, Tanner.
I'm
We
just
can
giving.
do-
I'm on. It's fun. It's actually
Moving
kinda fun.
right along.
Farmers at number 7, protective services number 6, architect number 5, doctors at number 4, transportation workers 3, lawyers 2, and what's the number 1?
Astronaut.
I already told you my number one. but-
Astronaut.
Bartenders and servers number 1.
Oh bullshit!
To avoid,
You can
if
drink all day with that shit.
To avoid if you've got a drinking problem, you have to.
Oh,
avoid
to
those
avoid
shots.
if you have a drink.
Yes,
because
I-
it's in front of you all
I don't
day.
think you've heard me 3 times say about this.
Oh.
4 times.
No, I ignored that part.
I
Drinking
figured
problem?
you ignored.
I
it.
ignored that part.
But
so.
yeah, that's your according to AmericanCraftBeer.com, your 10 jobs to avoid if you've got a drinking problem.
So
All
do you think if I want to be a part of SpaceX, do you think that Elon Musk would give me a drug and or alcohol test before I go up to space?
Yes.
Okay. I'm out. I don't want to do it.
I
then.
think it's not because he's worried that you're drunk or anything like that. I think it's just the to avoid the lawsuits like everybody else. So
All right, guys, we will be talking Chiefs here in a few minutes. But
Chiefs?
otherwise, let's go ahead and kick it off. Let's talk some sports. God damn it! I know we're in a weird part of the year. I mean, obviously it's middle of June now, and we're gonna have kind of a lull period where we're trying to find something to entertain us. Yes, I know baseball
What-
exists.
what's
Guys.
you want to know? What's the 2 days a year there are no sports played?
2 days
2
a
days
year.
a year, no professional sports is played.
Ooh, yeah,
Easter.
That's a tough
Is
one.
it Easter?
Nope.
No, just 2 specific days. That's a good question, Tanner. That's
Ramadan.
good. That you should use that as a trivia question
It
one
is.
day.
It's
Ramadan.
It's a trivia question for you guys.
2. Okay, is this okay? Someone's in February.
Nope.
January 2nd.
No.
January
Coming up.
3rd.
It's coming up in July.
July. All-Star break.
Yes. MLB All-Star break.
All-Star is that the
Mm.
2 back to back?
The day of and
So
the day
it's-
after. There's no
They have
professional sports.
no NBA, no NHL, no football,
No soccer.
MLS.
Nope.
No. So for those 2 days is the most depressing day
Zero
of,
sports.
of America.
Zero
Basically
sports.
every year. So
No sports.
The All-Star break. It's like, what do you do with you? Do you hug your kids? I mean, what do you do with your free time? I mean, at
Gamble.
some point,
I'm at the
gamble.
casino. I mean, you
what
guys know.
else are you gonna do with yourself?
I'm at the casino because at least I know, if nothing else, I can make some money.
All right, let's talk about some champions, guys, for a few minutes because the NBA, as Tanner and I called, is over. Denver in
Finished.
5 finished it off real easy, and it was a boring series in my opinion. I mean, I personally watched every single game. I watched every game of the playoffs. I did not have the greatest time in the world watching these games. I thought they were kind of cringy at times.
Except for the betting aspect.
Sure, I mean there was some betting involved here and there because I mean, what else am I going to do with my time? But I thought that in general that watching the NBA series go through, we were probably on point, Tanner, when you and I said the Celtics would give them a better fight
I
than
still
the Heat
stand by
did.
it.
The Heat had one game where they showed up and won by 3 points, and it took a lot of fight to make that 3 points happen.
It did.
Meanwhile, Denver literally just rolled their asses every other game in this series, and it never felt close to my in my opinion all along. As long as you had a healthy Jokic and Jamal Murray out there, and then hell, Aaron Gordon showed up quite a few times. It's just the way it is. That the better team won this thing. So real quick on the other side of things, we watched Tuesday night, last night.
Mhm.
We watched the Las Vegas Knights go out there and beat the Florida Panthers, and
In 5 games.
in 5 games, so same exact outcome.
Yep.
My thing was watching these 2 games combined back to back and series for series. I truly felt like even though the Knights were by far the better team, watching game by game, every minute of each game, I truly enjoyed watching NHL more. I had a better time watching the games. I felt like even whenever the Knights were up, what was it, 5-2 or whatever at one point, I was like, it's still the action is nonstop, and you never felt like it was a thing where someone's gonna let off the gas and start pulling back and playing softball. No, like it was you had to go full fledged at all times. Otherwise, you let their team back in the game,
Correct.
it's gonna be a problem. So it's like you had to be on point throughout the entire process up until the point that it was 9-3, at the end of the game. But overall, I just thought the competitiveness of the NHL series was a little better than the NBA. But it kind of raised my point was, which game or which series did the people out there, the community of the world, enjoy watching more? And now I know, Jason, you want to talk NBA for a bit, and I want to hear your opinion on what does this mean? What does this mean for the future of the Nuggets? What does it mean for the future of Nikola Jokic, a guy who we're questioning at the moment his true love for the sport? So you being the NBA expert, I want to hear what your thoughts are on that series.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think with the NHL, I mean, like being from Kansas City, the fact that we don't have an NBA or an NHL team, you guys know, like Las Vegas is my second home. So that's like my home team. The Las Vegas Golden Knights winning a championship is amazing to me. But as you guys know, like I'm an NBA guy, and so that I was totally locked into that series. Yeah, the Nikola Jokic thing. I mean, the guy's a unicorn. I mean, the first name that popped into my mind is like we should look at him in much the same way that we look at Patrick Mahomes in the NFL, because the guy just does certain things in certain ways that we've never ever seen before. And so I think those guys are obviously they're young. That whole roster is going to come back next year. And it's, it could be just kind of it could be another boring series next year. There's going to be a lot of teams that reload. Hopefully the Miami Heat reload, and you're going to see a lot of changes in the NBA, during the draft and free agency. But I mean, my gosh, dude, like Jamal Murray to me is a superstar. He's not a star, he's a superstar, but he's playing second fiddle only because he's got Nikola Jokic on his fucking team. And so very interesting team to watch. And they deserve all the credit in the world. I mean, they deserve to win the championship, but I feel like most of the world right now is looking at Miami, since they're also like kind of a big market team. And what did they either do wrong, or what do they need to do better for next year? And I just think they're a bunch of overachievers. I mean, Miami, they deserve to be in that spot, but they totally overachieved. I mean, there's no reason in the world that they should have beat the Celtics, shouldn't have beat the Bucks, even though Giannis was not 100%. But looking at the Miami versus Denver series, I'm looking at Jimmy Butler's stats right now, before and after his ankle injury, which I believe was in game 1 of the Knicks series. He had a 5-1 record before that injury, and then he was 500 after the injury in the playoffs. Averaged 35 points per game before the injury, 23 points per game after. And his field goal percentage, 58% before he hurt his ankle, 41% afterwards. And Jimmy Butler is the last guy in the world that's going to make excuses. So I'm going to make it for him. Okay. We heard that he was potentially going through some personal issues with his family there. Ankle may or may not have been at 100%. So this guy's a fighter, and that's the guy I was rooting for. I really wanted to see them win. You guys heard me try to pick the Heat to win the series. That was more wishful thinking than it was anything else, just because I totally loved to watch Jimmy Butler go through this whole thing, taking down Milwaukee, taking down the Knicks and the Celtics. Really had no business being in the finals. Probably didn't have any business being in the finals in the bubble either. But yet there he was, dragging this team. This year had 4 undrafted guys on his team, and he just totally overachieved. And so the big thing I took out of this series is, we talked about it on Saturday. What do they need to do to get better? And I'm just saying, if I'm Pat Riley, if I'm Eric Spoelstra, you got to bring in Dame Lillard. And I'm not trying to bring in anybody else. I know there's other guys out there. Fred VanVleet is a free agent, and maybe there's something you can pull off there. But I just feel like Dame Lillard is the guy because he's another aging superstar, much like Jimmy Butler. These guys aren't going to be around in their prime for another year or two. I mean, they're going to be on the downside of their careers. And so I would love to see the Heat get better. And I'm not even a Miami Heat fan. I just really enjoyed watching the series. I enjoyed watching Jimmy Butler. Bam Adebayo, he, as good as he is, he's the third wheel. Okay. He would be a really good third wheel on this team. He cannot be.
He was also the best player in the entire series for the Heat.
He cannot be the number 2 guy.
Butler was not the superstar for the Heat side throughout the series. Bam Adebayo was the one making most of the plays for their side.
And that's great. But I think that offensively, specifically, you can't rely on Bam. Definitely on defense, you can rely on him to be the number 1 or number 2 guy. But offensively, they got to bring in a guy like Dame Lillard or Fred VanVleet to take some of that load off, because they really just, I mean, dude, that they held. I mean, that was a low scoring game 5, but Miami just could not score, even though they were playing pretty decent defense in that game. And so I think they got to bring in a scorer onto that roster, and they got to do it now, because Jimmy Butler's 33 years old. He is a superstar. That was the other debate today. Is he a superstar, or is he just a really good player? Dude, when I went through these numbers before and after his ankle injury, when you average 35 points per game in the first and second round of the playoffs, you're a superstar. I don't care what the fuck you did in the first round, or in the regular season. He is a superstar player. You shoot 58% in the first 2 rounds of the playoffs, you're a superstar. You take your team to the finals, you're a superstar. And so that's kind of the ongoing debate right now. In my mind, he is a superstar, but he needs another guy in that lineup next year. And for me, it's Dame Lillard. But I'm not going to complain if it's Fred VanVleet.
So there's the rumors popped up today. Washington looking to move into that top 3, top 4 spot for the draft on Thursday next week. Do you see maybe a move there with Bradley Beal being that in play? Because Beal is the one that they're trying to move right now.
I would rather have Fred VanVleet or Dame Lillard, because to me, those 2 guys are a little bit more dynamic. Brad Beal, he's really good at running the offense, but to me, he's not as good as guys like Dame Lillard and Fred VanVleet. And he's another aging guy. I mean, I think, what is he, Tanner? Is he like 32, 33 years old?
30. He's turning 33, I believe it is.
To me, if you're going to go all in, you've got to get the most dynamic player out there. And to me, Dame Lillard is...
He's 29, turning 30 by the time the season starts.
Yeah, I mean, to me, Dame Lillard is the more dynamic player. So that's the guy that you want to go for. And I feel like Portland should be willing to do a deal for him, because the Miami Heat have the 18th pick in this year's draft. They have a total of 6 picks that they could trade. And they could totally move off of Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson, and those 2 contracts would match up with Dame Lillard. And so for me, Dame Lillard is the guy. And but we'll see what they do. But whoever they bring in, they've got to go all in.
Well, they've
got to go all in for Jimmy. If you don't do it for any other reason, do it for Jimmy Butler.
They got some moves to make still. They're going to be 41 mil under or over the cap into that spending. So you're going to be looking at guys like Duncan Robinson, maybe Kyle Lowry getting moved, possibly a Tyler Hero. Like, they got to figure that out to be able to bring in a Dame Lillard, a Beal, or somebody in that kind of range.
Yeah, well, we know that Mickey Harrison, the owner, he does not give a shit about the cap.
No,
so he's going to pay
over right now.
He's going to pay the fuckers. He does not give a shit.
Here's your tax incentive.
Yeah, I feel like, in my opinion, when I watched all this unfold, obviously Miami came in as an 8 seed in the finals here, and they did overachieve. And in a lot of ways, I feel like what we saw from Jimmy Butler in this last series was the most he's ever going to get. And I hate to go ahead and cut a guy off from ever getting any further than he just got. I mean, I dealt with Chris Paul for 3 years, as a Suns fan, knowing that he was going to choke every time he had a chance. But I feel like, the idea that we walk around and we talk about playoff Jimmy all the time. I mean, Jimmy's, he talked about himself in an interview where, he's not a scorer. He's a part of the team. And, he always speaks that way, which is awesome. And most leaders, it's good to hear that. But in a lot of ways, he's also being truthful. I mean, this guy is not the one to, in my opinion, going up against the best opponents are the best opponents to just take over games in that fashion. He's not going to pull a Nikolai Jokic. He's not going to shoot threes like Jamal Murray. The impact that those guys make on their team is different than the impact Jimmy makes on his team, in my opinion. And I think Jimmy makes a different kind of an impact on when it comes to a team chemistry front. So I think that's where he has his value on the roster. I feel like at this point, I mean, Jimmy's been around for quite a long time, and a lot of other teams now are itching to get back to where they once were. Giannis Antetokounmpo, your favorite damn player of all time, other than maybe one guy. That guy is going to have something to say about that next year, right? So I think what happened this year with the Heat was awesome, fun to watch. The underdog
on both sides.
At the end of the day,
Florida Panthers, who shouldn't have been there. Miami Heat,
Sure.
who shouldn't have been there.
Sure.
That was a fun run.
At the end of the day, the top dogs of both sports
took care of business.
And I don't know that we'll ever see.
Technically, Boston ruled the regular season. They got beat by Florida. Milwaukee ruled the regular season, got beat by Miami. So, technically, the top dogs lost.
Sure. Well, the top dog all along in the NBA to me was the NBA. Or
Denver,
was the Denver Nuggets.
Denver was only the third best team at the end of the regular season. They were not as good as Bucks before Giannis got injured. They were not as good as the Celtics.
Correct.
Which a lot of people think that if the Celtics would have gotten past the Heat, they could have beaten the Nuggets. And in fact, I believe they would have been the favorite in that series.
They would have been, but I think that probably would have gone 7, and it would have been a better matchup.
But then you get into a question of like Eastern Conference versus Western Conference.
Exactly.
And, you look at Miami versus Boston. When you've got two rivals like that facing each other, we see it in the NFL all the time. When they play each other, it's just different.
Yeah.
It's different. But if Boston would have played Denver, who knows what would have happened?
It would have been an interesting series. Just a quick here, average ratings. By the way, so NBA was down in their viewership this year for Game 5. 11.6 mil there, and same with the Stanley Cup being down across viewers. Now the Stanley Cup's viewed on TNT and I believe Peacock is in the True TV. So you're looking at 2.72 million viewers across those audiences there on those platforms. So they were down again. So this is the second year in a row they've been down for that, but. I think the Stanley Cup was a little more entertaining.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. You had the matchups of the goalies that I thought was super cool and fun to watch because, the game before all this, we saw the goalie for the Panthers kind of, he's been a superstar all year long.
He's been great.
He's been a good goalie all year long. And the guy just gets destroyed, by the Knights. Meanwhile, Aiden Hill, who actually was a backup throughout part of the season, who's actually an unrestricted free agent in the NHL,
which is big,
goes out and is just freaking stacking everything that comes his way.
He made 2 final season saves right there within this series, just by simply extending his arm, and then the other one was able to go on the side.
His reflexes were just badass.
It's insane. You don't get that with a bunt, and that was a game-saving goal last game before on Game 4. That they needed there. By the way, this cup actually ends up being the least watched in 29 years for Game 5.
Yeah.
That's
unfortunate for the NHL.
The
thing is that part of it might be because the Knights are still a fairly new
6
franchise.
Yep.
The Panthers are one of the teams. I don't know when or if the Panthers ever made it to the Stanley Cup. Historically, and if they did, it's been.
They have won it because Jim Behringer actually did
I think it's because your normal teams like the Avalanche and the Penguins and all that, that's who you're used to seeing involved in.
96 was the last time they were there.
90, yeah, it's a long ass time. And I think for a long period of time between that, they've not been a great team.
No.
Up until recently again. So I think that's part of it is you see those teams that.
So yeah, they've never won a Stanley Cup. They've been there twice now. Never won a Stanley Cup.
I think that's part of it, though, is the viewership of those exact franchises.
The teams wanted Carolina or Boston versus Vegas essentially in that Stanley Cup playoff. That's what the viewers wanted to begin with.
Or does America just hate sports now? I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's the problem, you guys. America hates
They
sports.
don't appreciate.
Let's shut it down. Let's
what's
just
there.
start doing TikToks. I mean,
They don't appreciate.
Well, you got to look up the NBA ratings too, because that.
Yeah,
well, he
probably
did.
was-
They were
11,
down.
11
Yeah.
They were down. So
How far down
They're
from the
both
previous?
shitty.
So 12.4 last year versus 11.6 this year. And your 2021, 2020 viewerships were 10.2, 7.7. So you were still the worst outside of those 2 years since 2007 when the Spurs and Cleveland played.
You know, part of the problem, Tanner, that I think what happened in the NBA at least was even though 3-time MVP, you know, he's not a flashy name. You know,
No.
even though he's very well known, obviously in the NBA, Jimmy Butler has always kind of been the guy that everyone roots for. We like his mentality, and still at the end of the day, he's not going to be your flashy name. I mean,
He's
in my
not.
opinion, this is an outsider looking in, not flashy enough anyway, because we saw Jokic after the game, and talking about how he's just looking forward to getting to the off season and can't wait to go home.
He's ready to go home.
He's like,
Ready to go home.
He's not the guy that every game you're going to interview and go, oh, can't wait to see what he's going to say today. And here comes all the talk, all the hype. Too many people I think are wrapped up and they want to hear the drama. They want to see the drama. They want to see Jamar Chase go out there and say Pat who. They want to see dumb shit like that rather than actually
They want
enjoy the
cigars
sport,
and whiskey.
the sport for
sit
what the
next to
sport
them.
is. People are they want the drama.
They don't understand how great.
They want the drama, but they don't want the Ja Morant drama. That's a little bit different.
Well, that's different.
Well,
What I mean,
they want that
what
too.
I mean-
Maybe they do
So
want
they
that.
want that.
what
too.
I mean is the buildup of the games and the buildup of the rivalries and stuff like that. I mean, people are just really, really, devoted to wanting to see how
they
these
want-
things
Yeah,
unfold.
they want to see Joker and Jamal come out and say, "We're number one, right? We're
Yeah.
the king of the castle.
talk
king
big,
of the castle."
talk big shit.
Right?
You'll get viewers then.
Yeah, they want
They
that.
want
but
that.
meanwhile, you got Jamal
But-
Murray complimenting the Heat and their coaching staff and his team for
And
doing
then-
such a
and
great
then-
job. And then you got Joker out here is like, I gotta wait till Friday to go home. I can't. I gotta
Well,
do a parade.
Right? He's like, when's the parade? Thursday?
Like,
No, I gotta go home.
And
I
you
don't
even
have time
saw
for
that
that.
celebratory stuff. Like he just sits there and he's like, fake smile.
But
All right,
but
I'm done.
those are the type of guys
The
when
kings.
it's just they're kind of like robots. Those are the type of guys that could potentially go back to back, and that's what
That's-
everybody's
so-
talking
It's
about
scary.
right
But
now.
here's the thing. You're right, but my point is those are the boring guys that your average idiot fan doesn't care
Oh,
to
they
watch
don't want to
play.
watch it.
They don't
no.
care to watch
Hey,
play. They want the storyline.
You
Where's
guys
the
know,
storyline?
I'm a lifetime Spurs fan. I had to deal with that shit for
That was the San
2
Antonio
decades.
Spurs.
Same
Guys-
shit. But you know what the difference is? They never once went back to back.
Yeah.
If Denver can go back to back, that's going to be a little bit different story. I think you see more fans try to
That's
start to
It-
drift
'cause
towards
that's your
that.
Tim Duncan
Any
right
husbands
there.
out there that sit around and want to bitch about their wives watching The Bachelor and Bachelorette, but then they don't want to watch the NBA or the NHL because it's too boring a matchup, those are the fucking people that are the ones that are the problem. Those are the people who also themselves as men don't realize they also enjoy the drama too. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Like
yeah.
that's what I mean. But people that are truly into it for the sport of the sake of the sport, I mean, they watch the games. They watched the NBA. They didn't care if it was the Nuggets. They didn't care who the hell it was. It was the sake of watching the game for the
Yeah.
game. But some people just want a storyline, and there wasn't enough storylines
I just
on
wish-
either
There
side.
wasn't drama.
No,
But
none.
they could have had a better storyline. I just wish that the Joker would have sold it a little bit better. All he had to do was just put his head down and say, "Oh, well, we have a parade. Oh, fuck, what time is the parade?" Just throw an F
I know
bomb
he
out there,
wanted to.
dude. That makes all the difference in the world. If he would have
Well,
just
but
said,
I don't
"Oh,
think that's his
fuck me, I
character.
got to
He-
go to
He
parade,"
got
you
interviewed
know?
right after the game by somebody. Right after the game, he got interviewed right after the game, like probably within 2 minutes. And they're asking him, about how he feels. He's like, "No, it's okay. Like we won the series. That's good. And, I can't wait to I'm glad we get to go home now." That's
Yeah.
what he said.
Yeah.
But just imagine the difference if he would have just said, "Fuck me, can I just go home? I don't want to go to the parade. Fuck me." Like that would have created a shitstorm. And that would have been far more interesting than what he said.
I think what he made a funny point too was he talked about, nobody likes their job, right?
He said that.
Nobody likes their job.
Well, maybe some
and
people
if you
do.
you're lying.
Apparently, there are flight attendants that don't like their job, so they get hammered.
So like now you're thinking like, holy crap, like is Joker taking this as a business versus a passion?
Oh, it's a business.
And
for
like
him.
Timmy's like, oh, I got money.
It's
I go in, I get money, I leave.
To him, it's second
That's
fiddle.
it. That's it.
It's a side hustle for him, Tanner.
I love it.
It's a side hustle for him.
I can't.
Which is hilarious because he's a 3-time MVP.
I want to hate it, but I can't because I'm like, dude,
Well,
this is
it's only funny because he's so damn good.
Yeah,
dude, they'll
You know what I mean?
punish. They're gonna punish him for that next year.
Oh.
They will not let
They
him.
won't
win
give him
the
the MVP
Fuck
after
no.
that. Yeah, they'll strip. No matter how good he does, they'll strip him from.
They stripped it from it, dude.
They
They
will.
stripped him from it this year. I mean, I think it was close.
it's because
but-
Embiid played enough games finally.
Yeah,
That's the only reason why.
Jokic should have. He could have easily won the
Took
MVP
that third
this year.
You guys want to talk about some people that really love their sport that they play in?
The Royals. Is that where we're going?
I got some news on the Royals again too.
More news.
More news.
Good.
But we can talk about that when we get there.
All right. I want to talk about a team that actually matters, who, as far as I understand, and pretty much everyone, but maybe one guy really loves being on this team. Kansas City Chiefs, obviously.
Everybody but one guy.
Well, Tanner, there's one specific guy who's a little butthurt. Who's
he's
a little
fine.
butthurt still.
If you're
Stephon Diggs.
Because there's a guy on the Chiefs roster who's still a little butthurt. He got interviewed yesterday, as a matter of fact. Just the fact that, he was, working at all these different positions before the Super Bowl and, practicing at receiver even and all this other stuff. And, comes game day and you're not inactive. And that's why you don't show up to the parade or the White House.
Is
Mr.
that
Clyde
the-
Edwards-Helaire.
Oh,
I was just getting ready to say
By
the
the way,
Fresh Prince of
I
Bel-Air.
heard
I didn't even know who the fuck
I
you were
heard he
talking
played
about.
Devontae Smith in practice squad leading up to the Super Bowl.
Yes. So,
What?
anyways,
the world?
I'm not making a big topic out of this or anything, but
I didn't hear that. I missed all of this.
he had an interview yesterday. Of course, he wasn't going to come out and just start yapping about it or anything. But obviously, the guy didn't show up to the White House for their celebration. They get their rings. Actually, I believe it's today or tomorrow. But he didn't go to the parade because he went to a fashion show instead. That was more important. But he's a little butthurt because he didn't get to play in the Super Bowl. And well, at the end of the day, it's like we have a couple running backs outperforming you. So who gives a shit what Clyde thinks or wants to do? I mean, we're gonna be just fine. In fact, we have an undrafted free agent right now at minicamp getting in work with the ones over, other guys that are on the team. So, mixing it in with the ones a little bit here and there. So something to watch here in the future, obviously. But anyways, I wanted to bring up for a minute the fact that Chris Jones actually is not reported to mandatory minicamp. I don't think it's a big deal in my opinion. I don't think it's something to worry about. Obviously, the guy wants a new contract. He wants to be a part of this team for a long time. He's been that very well known on Twitter. He wanted Frank Clark really badly. Obviously, Frank Clark's getting held with Denver Bronco. But speaking about Chris Jones, I mean, this is a guy the Chiefs are not going to fool around with for too long.
No,
He's going to be a part of this franchise going forward for a few years, without a doubt. So I'm not worried about it. But there's some people out there that start to think, okay, is he starting to like lay the law down? What does this mean for him to be skipping mandatory minicamp, where it's going to cost him $13,000 a day to not show up? Like he gives a damn about that. I would love to make $13,000 a day, but Chris Jones doesn't
Send
care.
it my way.
Anyways, guys, going into this season with the way the roster's set right now, we had the draft. I'm just curious to ask and think, you out there listening, even, do you guys think this roster right now is fully set with the way it currently stands? I mean, do you guys really feel like the depth at D end is there? Do you feel like the receiver situation is set in stone, or are we not done building yet? I have something in my mind that tells me we're going to add one more piece to one of those positions before the season begins. I'm not sure which one, but anyways, current state of the Chiefs, guys. How do you feel?
I don't think it's done by any means. There's still a bunch of big names out there there's been interest in and talks to, but I don't think we're done yet. There's still a lot of question marks on that line, that D line, especially right now. We don't know what Karlaftis is. We don't know what some of these rookies are. How is Tershawn coming back from his injury? Like we got to figure this out to see.
And
exactly
Felix
what
has had some injury problems already
Yep.
at this
already
point too.
there. Danny Shelton, can he be an effective depth guy? I don't think so.
I think that thing's over.
I think we're looking at a lot of question marks still on this offense or the defensive line that I could still see a move being made from somebody that may not be happy around the league on that. And then same kind of thing on the offensive with the wide receivers.
Carlos Dunlap, I believe, is still a free agent, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
I mean, that's a guy who obviously he's older now, but he's a guy that it's nice to have him on the roster.
We could see him
as a rotational piece. It's good to have him out there. I mean, I like to have depth at D end, especially in today's kind of league, to mix and match against certain matchups. Certain D ends play better against certain tackles.
Yep.
It's one of those things, we used to play ping pong all the time. And then, I'd beat you, but Jason would beat, you'd beat Jason and this and that. It's like, no, matchups matter.
Yep,
and that comes the same way when it comes to one-on-one individuality with D ends and tackles. And I just like having the options and availability there for to kind of rotate the guys through on a down-to-down basis.
Yeah, and I mean a couple of things too. Yeah, I think the offense still has work to do because you did lose some pieces there on the offensive line, but I think we might have enough to get through it. But I think they still bring in another guy for something here. Wide receivers, of course, staring at D-Hop right now.
I believe, by the way,
that's the only one I'm staring at.
I know no one probably at this point wants to hear the name, but he's also been productive quite a few times when we counted him out. Well, Justin Houston is still a free agent.
Yes.
So whether
it's not a bad pickup though.
I'm just saying. I mean, he could be one of those rotational guys that just gets you 5 sacks.
A guy that finishes his career as a Kansas City Chief. I love that.
I loved Justin since the day we drafted him, and I was sad to see him go when he went. But I mean, I understood the time. We were very concerned about his longevity, health wise. Now there might be a problem within, the ties of the house. I feel like maybe there was some bad blood on the way out, but same time there's options out there for some guys to come in here and,
but Dorsey's
fill
gone,
some of the void.
So there has to be.
Man, don't be giving Dorsey shit. Dorsey drafted Patrick Mahomes, man.
Well, each drafted Patrick Mahomes per read. So think about
that.
Who
was the GM in
Brett Veach drafted
Dorsey
him, dude.
was there, but Brett Veach was full credit to Brett Veach.
That's why. So
Dorsey
that way it would appeal to the fan base.
He was the scout who talked about him. I'm not getting into this.
That was always a story.
I'm not getting with
so that way it appealed to the fan base.
This is a bad argument.
It would appeal to the fans. It's for why Dorsey was fired.
No, I'm not getting into it.
It was always a bullshit.
We know why he was fired.
We do.
Running backs, by the way. Do you think we add a running back? I think that could happen yet. I don't, because I think Clyde's on his way out. I don't think you trust anybody but behind Pacheco, really, even McKinnon.
That's what I mean. There's a running back right now on the roster with the last name Prince. Yes. And he's been working in with the ones in minicamp, just kind of seeing how he's going to fit in, I guess. Big bodied guy, Jerk McKinnon talked about him today, and he said he's looking forward to seeing him in training camp. He goes, the first time he saw this guy, he goes, damn, he's big. He's a running back. That's the first thing he said. Not a lot of people compare him to like Nile Davis, which I'm hoping. I used to always compare Nile Davis to like an anteater because you're just like running with your fucking head in the ground, like you don't know where the hell you're going. But that was Nile Davis. Well, I hope at least Prince can be one of those guys that has his head up a little more.
6 foot, 216. I'd be okay with that.
Right, that's a good size.
Who was the guy we had? Gore. Similar build.
Derek Gore.
Yeah. Before he left for Houston, and now I don't think he has a job. So, but I don't think we're done.
Yeah, Derek Gore's out of the league at the moment, I believe.
But plain and simple, I don't think we're done. There's still a lot of work to do left for the team, but I don't think it's a lot.
Too full. Had a couple of comments real quick.
Too full. Poor Frank will never see another postseason game, let alone postseason sack again. Howdy, fellers. What's up, Too full? I agree. That's what I told my Broncos guy last Thursday or Monday. I was like, yeah, so much for getting playoff Frank because you're all excited for playoff Frank, but you ain't going to see him. The only running back I would want to see added is Henry. Beyond that, better positions out there in need. Yes, I agree. There's better positions. I'm not saying that's a high priority. I'm just saying I could see us making some kind of move in the running back world.
Hey, I'm happy with where they sit running back wise, especially,
I don't hate
you seeing these guys that are like undrafted come in there and make an impact. To me, I mean, I don't give a damn what happens with Clyde personally. I'm hoping Deneric Prince can come in and make an impact. I think he could be a good fit if he works out. we'll know more, as training camp rolls around, obviously, which, of course, as always, guys, we'll be there. We went last year, but it got rained out. That was such a disappointment because we had a lot planned for that. I ended up going back the next day on my own without you guys, getting some footage. Took some footage for you guys, put it up on the YouTube channel. Still had a good time, but I mean, it sucked that we couldn't all get to do the full experience last year like we planned. So, anyways, guys, real quick. So one more thing, one of the rivals of the Kansas City Chiefs had something to say recently. I'm not talking about Jamar Chase's dumbass this time. Stephon Diggs seems to have a issue with his own team. I'm curious to see what you guys have to say about this
and McDermott's worried. Josh Allen's worried.
Well, here's the thing. I do want to say something real quick. He's had problems in the past with other teams. He had problems at USC. He had problems with Minnesota Vikings. He seems to have a level where he comes in hot, is real excited to be there. And then all of a sudden there's this point that he hits within 4 years of being somewhere that he just tanks.
Yeah.
And his mentality towards the team, he gets sick of it. I don't know if he's tired of the putting in the work and then he's thinking to himself, other guys aren't putting in the work that I'm putting in or whatever. But something's a little bit off with him for sure. And that's why he fell to the 6th round, by the way. But anyways, I'm a big Stephon Diggs fan as a player. I like him a lot. I think he's badass. So, Jason, what do you think about the situation right now going on in Buffalo and his thoughts recently on the state of the team, I suppose?
So, 2 different scenarios for me. Number 1, which I feel like is the most likely, he's not feeling it with this offensive coordinator because they lost in the playoffs. Brian Dable is gone. Stephon Diggs he's not the same player, at least in the playoffs, as he was under Brian Daboll. And so I feel like if he went into a meeting with the general manager and the head coach, which, by the way, doesn't happen very often with players, then he's got an issue with that offensive coordinator. To me, that's the most likely issue there is he feels like he needs to get the ball more, even though the contract is settled. It's not a money issue, but he wants his volume to match up with that contract. Especially, I mean, if they're gonna win games, then I feel like he's a guy that would be willing to have a little bit less volume. But if they're gonna shit the bed in the playoffs, then what's the point? And so I think he wants a little bit higher usage, so he can help his team win. And then the second scenario, which is a little bit probably, I'm just kind of thinking outside the box here, is they probably tried to convince him that DeAndre Hopkins was going to come in, that they were going to make a play for him. And then all of a sudden they came in and said, no, we're out on that deal. And we're not going to sign him. And he got pissed. But I think the first scenario is the most likely, is that things are just different now that Brian Dable is gone and he's fucking pissed about it.
Well, I think one thing, I don't know if it's necessarily a usage issue. Stephon Diggs gets a lot of targets, you guys. I mean, I don't want to make a mistake about that. I mean, any of us who've played fantasy football know and are aware of the amount of receptions he gets on an average basis. And he's great. He's a great route runner. I mean, that's what makes him special. I think the Buffalo Bills have had a problem offensively when it comes to a sustainable rushing attack. And I don't know if that's something he cares about or not, but he's pissed off about something at the end of the day. But what I have heard is that the Buffalo Bills are going to try moving away from using Josh Allen as a running back as much as they have up to this point. Maybe to preserve some of his body at this point, but also to, actually have a damn run game that's worth a crap. Because to this point, they have not really had a reliable run game. You can hand the ball off to Devin Singletary. Last year, they got James Cook involved a little more down the back stretch of the season. But that's not really something you want to rely on. I mean, Devin Singletary carrying the ball 250 times a season, that's why they end up using Josh Allen as a running back half the time. They use him as the white Cam Newton, essentially.
Yeah.
And, at some point that comes to an end. We saw Cam Newton's career fall off a fucking cliff quick. And Josh Allen, last year, towards the backstretch, was not playing pretty, guys. Maybe they're starting to think we need to rethink the way we do this entire damn offense. And Stephon Diggs is probably seeing this too and going, Oh shit! What do these idiots have up their sleeves? What are they going to pull out for us? I think part of his problem is the structure of our organization. I think that's part of the issue with the way he's seeing things unfold over there in Buffalo. Is that he's unhappy with the way that they've structured the offense and the future of the team because they peaked 2 years ago. You guys, 2 years ago they peaked. We're on the decline, even though they have a defense to load it up a little bit. Once Stephon Diggs is gone, who's your guy? Without Stephon Diggs, what do you do?
Who's the second wide receiver there?
Gabriel Davis.
Gabe Davis. Yeah, there you go.
Which is a deep threat.
So
Gabe Davis is essentially their big deep threat receiver who actually outperformed what I thought he would do last year. He showed up.
He
give him
was
credit.
Impressive. Yeah.
But take away
A
Stephon Diggs.
in those
What are you doing underneath?
you're not
Like what are you going to work with?
Dawson Knox.
All day, just Dawson
well,
Knox all day.
Well, you got Kincaid,
the new tight
isn't
end.
it? Kincaid, I believe.
I think they drafted Dalton Kincaid. Is that right?
Yeah, Kincaid and Knox over there. Look,
which is fine. But
I talked about the Buffalo State essentially with the Rec Room guys a couple weeks ago on a Twitter space, and basically it came down to I thought initially that Josh Allen maybe didn't have that it factor like Mahomes and Burrow have.
But he's shown he
but
does to a degree.
Correct. So here's what it came into play is like now that he's getting older, and we've seen it with Lamar already at some point with injuries. Josh Allen, he can't take the hits and the abuse he has to change his style of game. He can't run and rush every single time he gets in trouble. This is a guy that can't take hits now because you saw what happened in the playoff game. He was abused already, and this guy just ended up couldn't finish it out. This is a big deal of Josh Allen's state and his Josh Allen's play. He can't take the same rushing hits. He can't rush for 20 times a game anymore.
Yeah, I mean it's a combination of both things. So like he had 23 turnovers last year.
Correct.
And part of that was the fact that he would fumble the ball, which he shouldn't have been running as many times in the first place. And so
those hits he would
take. There's two different things here. You want to preserve him for the long haul, but you also want to prevent him from fumbling the ball and turning him into a runner. In theory, that would actually help Stephon Diggs.
Correct.
If you want to turn Josh Allen more into a passer.
Correct.
So that just doesn't add up to me. Like, what the fuck is he complaining about? If you're going to get more balls because you're going to turn Josh Allen into a passer, then what's the problem?
Because they're probably not changing the offense to that model anymore. They're not giving Josh Allen the support to give him the passing ability that he needs to have this year. They're not going to get over the hump with Josh Allen running it 20 times a game. Plain and simple. They're not getting past in the Super Bowl that way.
No, it's not going to happen.
Not at all.
Well, the way it's going to work out better is if obviously we have Patrick Mahomes here in Kansas City. We look at him as like our god, and the way he uses his feet is in a way where he uses them when necessary.
Correct.
He's not necessarily a running quarterback, but whenever he needs to, whenever he's dying to get these few yards, guess what? He's going to get them. He's going to make it happen. He's going to use his legs. Well, Josh Allen's been using design runs for the last 3 or 4 years now.
Yeah.
And it comes to a point where that's going to come to an end.
He's won games, but he's also hurt himself late in the season.
Yes. And at some point, he regressed a little bit this past year. And I don't know that it's going to be something they can continue to do. So Stephon Diggs, to me, though, is kind of part of his own problem. I think he has he's a very passionate player. He cares. He cares about winning. He does care about winning. I want to make that clear, is that he cares about what's happening in the sport. But I think he also is part of his own demise at the same time, where he will get himself too amped up, too overloaded on emotion, and end up, making a mountain out of a molehill in a lot of ways. And I think that's what Stephon Diggs does. That's, like I alluded to a little bit ago, he had issues with maturity in college. Minnesota Vikings were a team that he got pissed off and threw a little fit and wanted to get out of there. They let him go. Goes to the Bills. He's happy for a couple of years. Now all of a sudden he's pissed off again. Like, I don't know where you want to end up, man. You want to come to Kansas City? I mean, I don't know what's going to make you happy.
Oh, I told him that.
Imagine if, like Tufel says, you go to Atlanta. Then what are you going to do? Might as well retire.
Could be a situation where he's just panicking because, all of you out there that love to listen to sports media, you've been listening the last couple of days. They will tell you that the Chiefs and the Bengals, those two windows are wide the fuck open, baby. They're going to last forever. Meanwhile, the Bills, they have to win now.
Oh, their window's already going like this.
And Von Miller,
Closing in.
if you're lucky, you might get him for one full year this year, but their window is closing faster than those other two teams that I just mentioned. And so it could be a situation where Stephon Diggs is just like, hey, what are we doing over here? Are we going to bring in DeAndre Hopkins? What are we going to do to get better? Because, Sean McDermott is just a defensive coach. So how are we going to score points? And that might be a part of the situation. Is just like he might be panicking and thinking that we're not going to win the championship this year and that our window is closed.
I'd say in a panic move too, don't be afraid. Don't be surprised if you see a brother reunion coming into play there in Buffalo. Tufel out there says Diggs seems like a guy that when people talk about him, having met him, it's always that guy was a dick, which is might be, dude. It might be. And then he also states maybe they trade him to some basement team that thinks they are close, such as the Falcons.
Yeah, because they think that they're real close.
Detroit,
right?
Detroit can win their division.
They made a lot of moves. They got Jesse Bates now. They got a former.
Throw him on the
Super Bowl
Lions, dude.
guy.
Lions are going to win that fucking division.
Anyways, guys, the great news about this conversation gets me thinking, remembering that we're only a couple weeks away from talking fantasy football with you guys and starting to get together our pre-draft worksheets and some of our opinions and thoughts on who's the risers and fallers of the NFL draft season. So fantasy football, guys, a lot of fun. Tanner actually freaking won the league last year. Still can't believe that.
Actually, won the league
I can't believe that actually happened.
I didn't. I actually still at this point. This is the first time I am hearing about this.
Yeah, Tanner won the league.
I think I boycotted the championship in our league because I didn't even know that happened.
You weren't anywhere close to that, Jason.
I think it was rigged.
Just so you know.
I think it was rigged, like Tim Donaghy style. I think it was fixed.
Yeah, well, I'm not a referee, but I'm a commissioner, so I can pull some strings when I need to.
Pretty sure this guy isn't going to fix it for me.
No, you are the commissioner. I hope he made it worth your while and gave you a couple GER. Did he give you a couple GER?
Well,
5 GER? Did he give you 5 GER to win the championship?
I did not pay interest on his money, by the way. So I held it for an extra 3 weeks just out of spite, and then I eventually paid him, but there was no interest charges on that.
All right. So bottom line, 5 GER. If I want to win the championship next year, that's the going price.
You have like 20 first-round draft picks this coming year.
You do.
So
no.
I don't know if that's possible, but you had a lot
right now. You're the favorite.
Oh, you should be the easy favorite to win the league this year.
But I just want to know that I have a backup plan, and I want to know that 5 GER is the price.
If you fail with all the picks you have this year, then you got to look inward on yourself. You got to start speaking to Jesus more often or something.
That's bad. That's probably bad executional skills, right?
Oh, it's a lot of bad everything skills. If you fail this year. You need to at least be a 10-win team this year, minimum. If it's any less than that, then that's a failure.
Well,
and like a 3 seed in the playoffs.
Minimum.
I'm about to get serious this year. I'm about to get serious.
All right. Guys, what else do we have to talk about today?
Guys, we got the Kansas City Royals to just give a quick chat about.
Just a real
it's
quick.
Been a minute.
Well, I know Tufel would appreciate this because he loves the Royals. But
we all love the fucking.
Well, they're about to lose again.
We love them, but it's also like a hate love.
We may not love the manager. We may not love JJ Picola, but we love the fucking team.
I loved Monday. They did Chiefs night at Kauffman Stadium. So that was kind of nice. Travis Kelce got to redeem himself for his original terrible pitch, and he ended up just getting it down the middle this time. But the bad news of the day, I was driving my car around town, and I hear Carrington Harrison go, "I got breaking news for you guys. Guess what? Vinny Pasquantino out for the year with a torn labrum." I'm going, well, what's the freaking point in even watching any of these games?
That's what I think about all these injuries.
And that was the only trade bait that you could have had.
That was your trade bait.
Now your trade bait is gone.
Now if you want to trade, you got Chapman, you got Greinke, and you got unfortunately our shortstop that could be in talks in Salvador Perez.
Which
But-
they keep saying no, Perez is off the table. He's not going to be traded.
Well, that doesn't matter because now he's leaving the game with a left hand contusion. So Salvador Perez.
I would be giving up on the year. I would just be like, you know what, you guys finish it out, figure it out. I'm out. I'm not playing this damn season.
I'm pretty sure with the A's and their stupid winning streak they're having right now that we are the worst team in baseball.
No, by far.
So
No,
is
I'm saying-
anybody?
Screw the records. Yes, our record right now in Kansas City is the
It is
worst.
the worst, yeah.
But regardless of that, this is the worst team. Can you even fathom the idea that the Royals winning 7 in a row right now?
Not at all.
It's not going to happen. Never will. Yet somehow the A's go out there, they kick the ass of the Brewers.
We
Like-
lose to the A's first off. Then the A's go out and they beat the Brewers. They beat the
And,
Rays.
the-
they beat
the Rays?
Stros.
Tanner, do you not understand that the Tampa Bay Rays are the #1 team in the entire MLB?
Oh, I'm aware.
Best
I'm fully
record
aware.
in the entire league. The A's, a team who are literally trying to suck, are going out there and whooping ass. Meanwhile, the Royals over here trying to win games. Jordan Lyles is over 14.
Losing the damn Cincinnati.
Jordan
Reds.
Lyles games, Tanner, this is setting records. This is the worst start for a pitcher in the history of the damn league to lose your first 14 games you started.
But we're gonna keep him in. Don't you worry.
He's 0-11, lost 14 in a row.
So as you guys know, over the last few weeks, if you've been listening to In the Hoop, the JG is the specialist in firing NBA coaches, and so I want to know: is it time to fire
It's not time to
Matt
fire.
Quattrell? Because I've heard
No.
rumblings out there that he might be a one and done.
That'd be the
And I'm not
stupidest
I
move.
would ready to
I'm
do it.
ready to fire him.
I'm not ready to do it.
Stupidest
So
move.
He's a
This-
weak ass bitch.
the JG is the guy that on this show officially
bitch.
fires coaches, and I haven't done it before ever in the history of Major League Baseball. But my thoughts are, I'm getting ready to fire him, but I'm not ready to do it yet. I really want to give this guy another chance.
I think I got a message from St. Louis somewhere. Will you go and just fire their manager real quick? Because I think they're about ready for that.
I'm
St.
ready,
Louis?
man.
St. Louis.
What does that have to do with the Royals?
I'm nothing. I just want.
I'm-
He's in the middle for firing somebody.
I'm the guy.
That's the one to fire.
I'm the
Why?
guy because
'Cause
you
they're-
guys,
dude. Oh, never mind. I'm not. You're not a baseball guy. Never mind.
you
Never
guys
mind.
all
Never
know
mind.
anybody that works in corporate America, nobody wants to be that fucking guy that just walks into a room and say, "Hey, man, it's time to clean your shit out of that
Well.
fucking office." I was like, dude, that's my dream job. I could do that all day long and not feel bad about it because I'm doing this for a purpose, and this is not me personally firing you. I'm trying to
So-
do my job here. So,
So,
like,
the-
I could fire
Okay,
Matt Quattrell. Like, I'm ready.
Can you fire Oliver Marmol? That's what St. Louis wants. Just Oliver Marmol. Will you fire him right now?
What's his name?
Oliver Marmol.
I can't even pronounce that shit. How can I fire the guy? If I,
MARMOL. Marmol.
no,
Marvel?
no, I'm not.
Marmol.
I can't fire him
You
if
can't
I can't
fire him?
pronounce
I would
his
never
fucking
hire him
name.
for
Sorry,
that
St. Louis.
name alone.
Sorry, St. Louis.
That-
Looks like you're stuck with him.
That
for
name
the
alone,
rest
get
of the
out of
year.
here.
Say it again, one more time.
Oliver
Oliver.
Marmol.
Okay,
MARMOL.
Mr. Oliver Marmol, who I barely pronounce your name. I need to pull you into the office right now, man. It's been real. I appreciate all of your hard work, but I need you to get the fuck out of here right now because you suck. You're fired.
Well, I do want to make one
St.
point.
Louis is happy.
I do want to make one point. I think that Jason's right, though, that this is a one and done
It's not a one.
for the Royals. It
It'd
is should be.
It'd be
It
stupid.
should be, Tanner.
Why? Because he
well,
inherited a stupid ass team that was
it's
already
also
shitty.
no. Tanner,
And so you expect a
Tanner,
shitty team to
Tanner,
continue not to be
the,
shitty?
the pitching that they're throwing out there right now is fucking stupid.
What else does he have?
No, you
There's
don't.
nobody in
Tanner,
the minors.
You don't throw Jordan Lyles out there
What
again. I'll
else
tell you that
does
much.
he have?
You also did the
Mike,
stupid
what
thing where
else
Hernandez
does
is out
he
there.
have?
Let's put
What else does
Hernandez
he
out there
have?
for 2 innings. Look at him go out there, 2 shutout innings. Nope, you're out of there.
Guess
Thanks,
what?
Hernandez.
Wait till
Kick you out.
Chapman gets
Tanner,
traded, and then
it's
you got
stupid.
worse.
I don't know. Who cares about fucking Chapman? Been
Because
around
you're
forever.
about to get worse.
Chapman's irrelevant. How many games are we saving, Tanner? We ain't saving no games. So
Here's the
Chapman's
deal.
irrelevant for this team.
No, here's the thing. There's nobody in the minors that's to be brought up,
This organization sucks.
and that's not the manager's fault.
no, but
that's
what we're
not-
doing currently with this pitching staff is just fucking
What else
stupid.
is he supposed to do?
Tanner,
Give him a solution.
have you been watching these games?
Yes.
Have you seen Hernandez go out
Well,
there,
sorry.
start 2 innings?
I've been watching
Hold
the
on, hold on,
highlights
hold
because
on,
we get blacked
hold
out
on,
here.
hold on.
So
Go out there, start 2 innings, two innings, scoreless innings. Awesome. Go up, 3 down, both innings. And then, hey, you're done. Because guess what? You're just literally the first 2 innings guy. Was putting a reliever. Guess what? 3rd inning comes along. Boom. Bombs away. Bombs away.
They only have 3 starters,
Tanner,
dude.
That's fucking stupid.
I don't know what to tell you. I don't have a solution for
They do not have 3 starters. Jordan Lyles should not count as a starter to begin with.
4 starters.
Well, what I'm saying is you got Zach Greinke, who they're going to lose every game anyway, whatever he's pitching, because that's what they love to do. But the way that they use this pitching staff currently is idiotic.
Yeah,
Makes
I
no
fully
sense
agree
at all.
But I don't know what else they can do.
This comes from the manager.
I have no idea what they can do different.
Let me ask you
There's
this.
nothing
guys.
else they can do
Stop.
different.
Okay, how about stop pulling guys that are pitching well? If he's pitching well, leave his ass in
You
there.
can't.
So what if you can't use them the next day? I don't care.
You realize there's more that comes from the top than anything, right?
The top?
The top.
Nah, if my job's on the line, I'm going to do what I want.
What do you think
with my staff?
Joe Madden got fired last year to the Angels because a guy called into to the deal and wanted him to take a guy out that was doing well, and he hangs up the phone, says it's my team. Hangs up the phone, fired the next day.
Well, how do you feel about Bobby Witt Jr. right now? Going
I
out,
think
having interviews, Tanner,
Oh.
and he's saying to him, "Nope, he's an aggressive hitter. He's going to continue to do the same thing he's always been doing because that's him." You know what? I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
Because the problem is not Bobby Witt Jr. So far to this point, underachieving. The problem is this shitty ass staff we have, shitty ass managers, shitty ass coaches. No,
you're putting them
it's
in
a
the
disaster.
Group. You're putting them in the group.
The whole staff is a disaster, Tanner.
Last year's staff was a disaster.
This is too.
So you're telling me the new staff,
you can't develop players.
You can't develop players that are already there.
It's a big waste of
They're
time.
already shitty.
It's a big waste of time.
JJ Piccolo needs to be gone.
Bobby Witt Jr.
Yes, thank you.
It's about them. It needs to be gone. When you clean house with Dayton Moore in that crew, JJ Piccolo should have been gone with
Yes. So why was he not?
Because the owner, John Sherman, needed to keep somebody around from the other regime in the ownership.
John Sherman might be a dumbass of his own kind.
He might be. And this might be come back into the ownership.
He's the owner, dude.
We're going to look at Mr. Walmart one day, David Glass, and go, that's the best damn thing. Obviously Ewing Kauffman is the best, but you know what I'm saying? Like
he wasn't that bad.
John Sherman might be a bigger dumbass than we all realized whenever he bought the organization. He hasn't even explained to us yet why we need to have a fucking stadium moved downtown or whatever. He hasn't said a word about it.
Didn't
he said he's like, this is what I want to do. We need a new stadium downtown. He hasn't said why. He hasn't given any explanation of why.
I think we know why.
So that's the thing. If you're the freaking owner, how about you appeal? Because this comes down to a vote, Tanner.
Yeah.
It comes down to a vote. How about you tell the masses your reasoning? Because that's going to help your case. If you don't give a reasoning, we're going to say, fuck you, you're full of shit, and then move along.
That's the issue, though. See, we won't, because then Kansas City is going to do what Oakland's doing, move to Vegas, move to another city, and then we won't have a baseball team here.
At this rate?
I mean, it sure seems like
At this rate, I don't know.
2 playoff appearances in the last 33 years? It sure seems like we don't have a baseball team.
At this rate, I don't know.
So let's talk about reasoning just for a second here. And Tanner, I appreciate the fact that you're calling for JJ Piccolo's head.
I called 3 years ago.
And I'm going to give you a couple of stats here that define the Kansas City Royals. Just 2 stats. Okay. Ryan O'Hearn is batting .319 with a .991 OPS. He is no longer on the Royals. Why did we get rid of him? And now he's doing better because our organization is trash. And that starts at the top with JJ Piccolo. So I don't really care if you want to give, the manager a second chance or not. That we shouldn't be getting rid of guys and then they blow up. And we've seen that before on this fucking,
put Bobby Witt
organization.
On a different organization. He's not going to be batting 230.
He's batting 400.
No, that's what I mean. But put Bobby Witt anywhere else.
So where is the player development?
There's none.
Where is the player? Why
exist.
did we think
it's not a thing?
Why did I listen to these guys?
None.
Let me talk for a second. I listened to these guys for years say, why in the fuck is Ryan O'Hearn in the starting lineup? Every fucking day I listen to this shit.
Yep.
Okay. Why did I have to listen to that shit? Then he goes to another team and he fucking explodes.
He's a cleanup hitter.
He fucking cleanup hitter.
He's batting 4th.
That's because the organization is shitty. It's not. It has nothing to do with the players. Oh, well, we all like to sit around. Oh, my gosh, I'm a sports fan. Players win games. Players win games. Well, what the fuck? These players are not apparently as shitty as we thought they were because they go to another team and they fucking explode. Okay. The players have nothing to do with your bullshit. Okay. All of you fucking fans out there, don't blame it on the players. This has nothing to do with players.
It doesn't.
You're sitting there watching Ryan O'Hearn bat 320 on another team. Just forget about the players. Okay. Let's change the organization. Let's change the culture. That's what it's all about. The fucking culture, the general manager. Let's start from scratch and make this thing better. Well,
You just did last year. This is the
no,
whole new regime.
I never fired JJ Picollo.
No,
I
he's
should
the only
have.
one left over.
But
for
I should have.
some weird ass reason.
So if you guys want to blame somebody, you can blame the JG. I failed to fire JJ Picollo last year. That's what I should have done.
I don't get it. I don't get why we kept one guy for this deal and brought in everybody else.
Unreal.
Tanner, I think our owner's
Unreal.
a moron.
I'm not that far away from that. So
Like I think we're at a lost cause right now.
I mean, when you guys go to
here's the thing. In the past when the Royals were shitty, in the 2000s, we always talked about, well, they have a great, everything, the upcomers, AA, AAA. We always had a lot of superstars in the waiting, right? That was always the thing. We always had a great minor league system, and we're at a point now where our guys here that are up here right now are shit in the bed. Meanwhile, also the guys in the minor league system, we don't have anybody anymore. It's all a bunch of bums. They're all bums. So what do you do? Like at this point, there's nothing to look forward to. There's no hope for the future at all as a Kansas City Royals fan.
there isn't.
Like we're gonna suck shit for the next 10 years. And that's the end of the story.
you have shitty ass drafts. I mean, horrible drafts. And when you guys lay your head on your pillow tonight, I want you to dream about those numbers that I just told you. Ryan O'Hearn, 319 with a 991 OPS. Just run it back and forth over and over again in your fucking brain when you sleep tonight. And you'll wake up the next day and be like, dude, get these assholes the fuck out of here. These fucking assholes that pretend that they know how to run this fucking team.
As much as
we deserve better. Am I right?
Oh,
we deserve better in this fucking city.
I've been saying this
better than dead
30,
last
33 years.
Absolutely.
I mean, this is stupid.
People used to try to convince me this was still a baseball town. I was like, yeah, good luck with that.
Trade your whole fucking roster and get Ryan O'Hearn back.
That's what I mean.
7 years ago, whatever it is.
And no, this has been a football town since the 90s. I'm sorry.
Oh man, look, it's just bad. By the way, guys, AC out here, our man AC wanted us to talk a little bit about it. But I got a cool subject to turn this into a little fun. Royals have Angels coming into I believe here this weekend. Shohei Ohtani is here. Mike Trout. There was talks and there's stuff I saw on Twitter. If he was Shohei Ohtani, if he was to retire this year, is he a Hall of Famer? And I think that's a great conversation to play because this is a guy who has made such a great impact in the game in such a short span.
I feel like Shohei Ohtani would be like the MLB would love to make him a Hall of Famer. The MLB itself would love to make him a Hall of Famer.
You know they want to.
I also think that it's been such a short-lived thing to this point to where I have a hard time watering down any Hall of Fame with guys who do it for such a short period of time. I mean, obviously we all joke around about Mahomes and he'd be in the Hall of Fame right now if he retired, and that's probably true. Shohei Ohtani, I mean, has he won a World Series yet?
No, he's with the Angels, remember?
That's okay. That's part of my point.
So he's been here since 2018.
Yeah. That's part of my point, Tanner, is that, I don't think it's been long enough.
Well, you can't make the Hall of Fame without winning a World Series.
I get that, right? But I also, it makes an impact.
Like, there's a lot of teams that do that.
Tanner, if he went out there and pitched a damn 7-inning,
here's his
one-run game.
Here's his feats. Okay, since he's came in the league in 18. He's a two-time All-Star, AL MVP, two-time All-Star first team, second team, two-time AL Rookie of the Year, Silver Slugger Award, two-time Edgar Martinez Award, AL Triples leader, Commissioner's Historic Achievements Award, whatever the heck that is, hit on the cycle, and he's an AP athlete. Like it's
not enough.
He's done stuff.
That's awesome. I know it is awesome. It's not enough. I think longevity. To me, I take longevity into account when it comes to the Hall of Fame. To me, it doesn't matter.
So, and we're talking. I think we're talking Major League Baseball Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
which I'm right there with it.
So he's a unicorn to me, but I would compare this to, like, why is Bo Jackson not in the Football Hall of Fame? A very short-lived career, reminds me of Ohtani, but I don't even know why we're having this. Like, he's not going to
It's-
retire.
yeah,
right. It's just like a fun conversation.
I-
you're just trying to have.
Hypothetical type of thing.
I think
I
it's
guess.
Yeah, so
hypothetical.
If he were to get injured right now and never play again, he's Bo Jackson
at
well,
the
yeah,
end.
on the
To
baseball
me,
side.
if his career ended right now, I'm going to say not a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
I'm going to say, hey,
I
that was
agree.
an awesome story, awesome
Yeah.
run
Yeah,
for
I
a
agree.
really unique player,
yeah,
but not a Hall of Famer.
yeah, and Bo Jackson to me is the greatest athlete I've ever seen in my whole life. If he's not in the Football Hall of Fame, you're not going to throw Ohtani in the Baseball Hall of Fame.
No, yeah, because I mean, this is a guy like you guys all know pitches and he hits.
Was there?
He plays every day.
Were you going to talk about Mike Trout too?
No, I'm not talking about Mike Trout.
Well, he's a Hall of Famer for the record.
Yeah, he is.
Mike Trout's a Hall of Famer.
Okay,
Do you want Ohtani on the Royals? Is that why?
I
is
would
that what
love
this is?
Ohtani on the Royals. Can
Tanner,
we have that?
why are we? Why is this?
But we're not
even
gonna
a
pay
thing?
him because that's paying.
Why?
What
wouldn't
would be
you?
the point?
Oh, it would
you
be
just
the dumbest
pay him.
thing. It
You
would
want to
just
sell tickets?
ticket sales. That's all it would be.
Are you going to
I
sell
mean,
a single
that's
ticket
all it
for the
would
rest
be.
of your life?
They
No,
got to
you're
pay for the
not.
downtown stadium somehow.
How about this? So, us being into sports betting and all that, we bet on sports every single day of our lives. And part of sports betting, I get on there and I look at the attendance. It just happens to be on the page I'm looking at. And every single fucking stadium says 40,000 people, 40,000 people. It doesn't matter if it's a Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. 40,000 people at all the stadiums. Royals over there, I mean, right now they're putting out probably somewhere to
10 grand.
13 on
13
a nice day. Yeah, Shohei Ohtani would, of course, flood the ticket sales. But there was something talked about on the radio this past week that I thought was kind of interesting. If there was one game, Tanner, where we took, let's say, either Patrick Mahomes or Travis Kelce, inserted them into the lineup of the Royals for one game, they're going to get 3 or 4 at bats. That's it. And that's it.
Sell out.
Do you think that shit sells out? Whether
Sells
it's
out.
Kelsey or Mahomes to play one Royals
Sells
game.
out. Completely.
I bet that shit sells
and
out.
there would be lines standing outside the stadium
Yeah.
waiting to get in.
I'll tell you, yes. I'll tell you what. I don't care what position he's playing that day. I don't care if he's pitching. I don't care if he's playing first base. Patrick Mahomes, if he's playing as a Royal in a game, that stadium sells out 40, 38, whatever they hold, 1,000 people. I bet that place sells out.
What if you
And
put
I'd be there.
what if you put Mahomes and Kelsey and Ohtani in the same fucking game? You'd fucking
Wow.
blow the ratings.
People
would
be
go
standing
through
on the
roof.
highway watching.
You'd have the Chief Stadium, Arrowhead, full with the screens rolling. Like that's exactly
My whole thing is like, why would you not bring in Ohtani to the Royals and give him a contract? Because nobody's
not?
going to show up for anything else. You're not showing up for Bud Light anymore. They used to.
Any thoughts? And while we're heading into All-Star break, and we probably won't talk baseball again for a while, but any thoughts of where Ohtani lands next year? Does he stay in Angel?
Right,
does
Dodgers. I'd go
He go
Dodgers.
Dodgers.
Yeah. I mean,
Dodgers makes probably the most sense.
my dream would be to see him on fucking Padres. That'd be fucking
Oh
amazing.
my god!
But yeah, I think
that money amount just went
Well,
up even
if
more.
I was
No.
gonna bet on it, if I'm betting on it, I'd probably go
If
Dodgers.
this was 1998, he goes with the Yankees.
So
So
I don't know
why,
if you heard
why not being a Yankee?
early in the year there was stuff video of Ohtani jersey being sold in the Yankee Stadium.
Mhm.
So I see him being a Yankee.
The Yankees makes a lot of sense. Yankees, I mean, Red Sox maybe.
I think he
but
goes East
probably a
Coast
Yankee.
to the Mets or the Yankees.
Yeah,
So-
I could see Yankees. The Yankees would make a lot of sense to me.
So then you have to bring Hideki Matsui out of retirement. That'd be pretty
Oh
cool.
my lord, that'd be hilarious, wouldn't it?
I think it's at some point Ohtani probably just wants to win a ring.
He's 28, so it's not like he, is going to be
Well,
out of his prime
I mean,
anytime soon.
Now speaking of most watched finals, championships, series, think about that. Shohei Ohtani World Series, where we're all on his nuts, kind of like back in the day with the Giants and the
Yeah.
Royals, World Series, where everyone's all over Mr. Oh God, what the hell is his name now? I can't remember.
What
The San Francisco Giants pitcher,
that Bumgarner?
Madison Bumgarner.
Bumgarner.
Going out there like that. Now imagine Shohei Ohtani doing something similar to that. I mean, everyone would be tuning into that.
I mean, if he does go to the Dodgers, like think of a Ohtani Judge World Series, that'd be stupid, crazy in ratings.
oh yeah,
But yeah, I mean, hey, that was a little baseball
Fun-
talk,
fun
guys.
Hypothetical.
Lot of fun there. We don't talk very much baseball. We might get a couple.
I know. Here's the thing: is that now the only sport remaining at the moment is baseball.
Yeah.
So I guess we kind of have to talk baseball for a bit. So
I mean, unless we want to go.
I Maybe we should
I
start
can't say it, guys. I can't say it.
start doing some more sports betting on here because
We
we're over
could.
here making fucking money every goddamn day on this
We could.
planet. With all the sports betting takes. So it's unfortunate we don't have a sponsor right now, because our betting picks have been nails lately. I do want to make that be well known. We've been killing it in the sports betting world
Have a
the
little fun with it.
last month or so. So if any sponsors out there want to hit us up,
Thanks, Stacey.
that are not from Canada, then hey, give us a shout out. We'd love to be a part of the group. And
Holy camoles, guys. We've been going.
yeah, it's time to wrap it
We
up.
went
Tanner.
today.
I
By the
started
way-
rambling about a sponsorship that we should have had. So
Go ahead.
By the way, if you guys are concerned about sports being dead this time of year, the World Series of Poker runs from May 30th to July 18th.
Oh, wait, I know a guy doing it too.
And
I'm
a lot
gonna
of
get
people
him
out
on.
there,
If I get a guy on,
including people in my family, they always said that's not a real sport. Hey,
Oh, it's
man, if they're out there making money and they're using their talents accordingly, then it is a sport by my book.
if I get a guy on, are you in? I got a guy that's qualified for that.
is Phil gonna be on there?
Get him on there. Yeah.
You're in? Okay.
Yeah.
Is
I'll be on that podcast.
I'll work on that.
Mr. Phil gonna be on there?
Mr. Phil.
Mr. Phil.
Mr. Phil. I don't know what he's talking about.
I forgot his last name.
You talking about Phil Jackson? The former
Not
coach
Phil
of the
Jackson.
Lakers? Like,
the professional poker player.
I mean, for real. Give Houston some fucking credit.
Phil
here, right?
Phil Fiddlefuck. You know that
Fiddle
guy.
fuck. All
That
right.
guy.
Phil Ivey. Phil Ivey's gonna
Guys,
be.
I-
No, he's not.
we do got a trip.
Phil Ivey.
We're going down to Oklahoma this weekend for our guys' trip. So,
That's right.
what are you guys looking most forward to the trip?
I'm looking forward to In the Hoop. First thing Saturday morning. I will be only mildly hungover. So I'm looking forward to that show. Also, obviously, gambling and making a shitload of money out there. Not going to tell you how I make the money, but maybe we'll do some easy money bets on that
Hey, that'd be
podcast,
kinda
Tanner.
fun.
What do you think about that?
I'll be up
I
for
look
that.
forward to going somewhere different for a couple days. Panda Express is going to be there, which is super cool.
IHOP. There's an IHOP over there. too.
I'll be
You know,
in
but,
Express.
yeah, for the most part, I'm glad to be down by the Texas border. So
Oh,
I
yeah.
like Texas. I was wearing my Texas Tech shirt. So
But no
Um,
shit. If you guys want to find the buffoons, just walk into the WinStar on Friday and Saturday night.
we'll be there.
Good luck finding us because there's going to be like 100,000 people over there.
Yeah. So real quick before we log off here, AC wants to know about the match between Pat and Travis versus
Clay and Steph.
Clay and Steph in a golf match. What do you guys think of that? Who's going to win that one?
I think so. I think Pat because he's, well, I don't know. Steph's a fucking good golfer too.
Have we ever seen
Yeah.
Kelsey golf?
No, that's the scary part.
That's
But
the
I've
part I
never
don't
seen
know
I've never
about.
seen clay
I haven't
golf
seen
either.
clay golf either, but I think Steph is a better golfer than Pat. I'm gonna go Steph and Clay in this one. I think
Yeah,
Steph
so-
and Clay will take.
But here's the thing. I didn't feel like that's assuming that Kelsey is a bad golfer.
Do you see this guy
That's-
playing golf?
I would
without
say
throwing his
Steph and
clubs
Clay.
30 feet.
I would say Steph and Clay only
'Cause-
because
yeah.
like right now the Chiefs are on top of the mountain. They'd have nothing to prove.
But if-
Absolutely
If
nothing.
it was
to prove.
1-on-1, Steph versus Pat, because we know Pat's a golfer.
Ooh, I'd take Steph.
You
I'd
take
take
Steph
Steph for
over
sure.
Pat?
I
on
take
that?
Steph. Yeah,
But I'll
Steph's
take-
good.
Steph's fucking good.
I'll take Steph and Clay in the match. I'll take Steph and Clay in the match because I mean those
I
fucks. I,
think-
mean they're not going to do shit in
I think
basketball for a while.
Steph's just gonna do what he does with Clay anyways to carry him. So I think that's just what it's gonna come down to.
Now, if you threw in the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air instead of Travis Kelsey, that might be
that might be
story.
different. Yeah.
He might be a
Look,
decent
Travis
golfer.
Travis
Worse.
is a guy that hits it 30 yards out off the fairway and then throws his whole set of clubs 30 feet to the ball too. So
Like
I-
Happy
I-
Gilmore. That's Happy Gilmore.
that's what
shit.
it is. So I'm going.
I'm gonna watch. It's June 29th, by the
Yes.
way. So I'll be watching without a doubt. I want Pat to win because I love me some Pat, but I don't know. I don't really have an opinion.
Well, of course I want Pat to win.
But I don't know how good Steph and Clay
Steph's-
are. I have no idea.
Steph plays with the pros sometimes.
I would like it
So,
much better. I would like it much better if they had like Tiger and Phil
again.
in there. No, but like split them up.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So why with Pat Mahomes
Versus
and
Steph
fucking Steph Curry.
and Phil, like they do with. Don't they do that with?
So
the,
maybe put like Steph Curry with Phil
that
and
was
then
Tom Brady
Tiger
and Aaron
with
Rodgers,
fucking
yeah.
Pat Mahomes. That'd be fucking amazing.
That'd be pretty
That'd
fun.
be cool.
Actually.
They'd make more money too. I don't know
Yeah.
why these fucking guys don't listen to the JG. I have all the amazing ideas over here.
That would be a lot of fun.
That would
See
be
Pat and
nice.
Tiger playing a team.
Yeah.
That'd be
Hell,
kinda cool.
even Steph and Tiger, I'd take. That'd be a blast.
I'm looking forward to it. That's in 2 weeks. So
But yeah,
yeah.
we're excited for that. We're excited for Oklahoma, and we're excited to get this thing going. So tune in. Make sure you guys hit
so that means the Saturday show will be live from Windstar Casino in
Saturday?
Thackerville, Oklahoma.
It's not like I haven't done that show before, but that's neither here nor there. Tune in, guys. I promise to be sober.
We'll see you later, guys.
Not.